Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. It feels so good to be back. We're going to try this again, man. And hopefully we get somewhere, man. I guess, I don't know who it is, man. The universe, StreamYard, D.K.S.A.B, man. I'm going to go on with the program. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go on with the program. Because one little glitch ain't going to stop no show. And I think this is going to be a nice show. So, just stick with me, man. We gonna go some places. All right. But tonight we're going to be talking about Shakur Stevenson, man. I got high hopes for Shakur, man. And lately, a lot of the hoopla around Shakur, it's been all right. I mean, it's been okay. It's been okay. You know, at first I was like, man, this is what I like when him and Tank was actually away and they both were being real quiet. I said, man, that's a good thing. They getting ready. You know what I'm saying? So, I thought that they was busy training and, locked in, but then you seen a couple little snippets of videos and things like that that came out about Shakur. But here recently he came out, he said some things, and I picked up on some key things, and I've been following along on Shakur. You know why? Because one, they actually use the divide and conquer. They use Shakur, to divide and conquer, especially when it comes along with the Tank conversation. And also considering the Tank conversation, the fact that I call it the Cold War. I think that a lot of people try to use Shakur as a tool against Tank. So anybody let me see. Anybody else? Did anybody else get the alert out there? Is my live still tripping? Yo, testing, man. I want to make sure, man. I think something's going on with StreamYard, man. Somebody in the comment section hit me up. Let me know how I sound, man, so I can get on with the program, man. Somebody let your boy know what's going on so I can get on with the program, man. Cause I'm thinking we good, man. I'm thinking we lit, man. Can y'all hear me? Okay. All right, appreciate that, Pop. Okay. Well, like I was saying, man, before, I don't know what it is, the internet. They must don't, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because of the title. I don't know if it's because of the boxer. I don't know if because who he works for. I don't know if it's just me. But either way, man, we gonna get it on, man. We gonna go ahead with the usually scheduled program. We gonna go with the regularly scheduled program, man. Yeah, man. So we gonna continue. I'm not gonna get distracted. I don't know, man. There's been some weird energies around lately, man. It's been some weird stuff going on lately, man. Been some weird energies lately, man. But I'm not gonna let that distract me, man. Anyways, Shakur came out and he was saying some things. And I was, I'm still taken aback because, Shakur has always been one of my guys, just like everybody else from 147 on down. When it come down to Tank, man, I'm not really picking nobody over him, man. So in that situation, with their mindset, it's like, some of these boxers like either you with me or against me. And I'm like, well, I've been a Tank fan, man, for the longest time. So it is what it is, but that don't mean I don't have boxers that I actually like and rock with. And I think it's been about a year and some change when I started kind of like looking at things a little bit different when it came to Shakur. And mainly the moves. Definitely not the skill set, but mainly the moves. And he's still saying some things. He's doubling down on some things. And let me see. What you say, Cook? It's weird when I go to any other videos, I don't get no issue. As soon as I click on Bodywork, I get spinning. Somebody playing game. I know. It's been weird, man. It's been weird, man. I can't even. I'm gonna keep going, Cookie Monster. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep going, man. But I don't know what it is, man. I have no clue what it is. But I'm gonna keep going, and see how it works out. But pulling in the reins, focusing in on the subject at hand, we're talking about Shakur Stevenson, right? He's in my Boxes to Watch collection. He has a unique set of skills, Liam Nielsen style. And I think the world is stuck at a standstill, like I said before, only because of the Cold War, that's going on between him and Tank. And I think every now and again it heat up and then it simmer back down, and it's a yo-yo effect. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on, but I really can't. I'm not doing the interviews, even though it's pretty much the same questions asked. Time goes by, it's still the same sentiments. Sometimes they real heated. Sometimes they go at each other. Sometimes they like, blah. I think they're both tired of it. I think I think it was supposed to be a build up, much like the Spence and Bud or the Mayweather pack, because that's what everybody's aiming for now. And I think boxing is kind of like past that. It's like a seize the moment type deal. And I think one thing that this new era gotta realize, like this new time in boxing, we went into a shift. We went into the microwave generation, where before it might have been okay to marinate, but we're in a microwave generation. I mean, we all consume content at a very fast pace. You know, you could be looking at something, you can listen to an album. Like before, it used to be what I always talk about, playback value. You put in the DMX CD, you're gonna pretty much let it ride from start to finish. It was certain CDs where you pretty much don't touch it. I think maybe one of the last ones that was like that might have been Good Kid, Mad City, or To Pimp a Butterfly. I mean, I'm talking about coming up in recent times where it's like somebody as of late or recent made music where you could just put it in and let it ride. But like now, they hear that single, they're like, I heard that single. You know, and just like everything else, we consume at a rapid pace. So with boxing, you know, in the matches not being made and the big fights, you know, stalling out, where the fights that we do get good fights. We are getting some great matchups. We getting some things, you know, a lot of the time we don't really ask for them. You know, they just happen to be good fights. So I think that in this new era, I think with this era, which I wouldn't consider Tank and Shakur a new era, I would say that they're kind of like, because there's some guys behind them now, but I don't know what category I want to put them in. They gotta understand, and the people coming behind them, they gotta understand that that build up, that stuff, that the red hoodie, black hoodie, you know, conversation, like, and then the build up from there, and all of the things that happened between Maypac, that worked during that time. That worked during that time. I don't really think it's going to work during this time, because consumers are consuming at a more rapid pace. But let me get down to what Shakur, some of the things that Shakur was talking about. Let me start off with this. Let me start off with some things. You know, I gotta have some things to actually put out there so that people be like, where is he getting this from? Where is he getting that from? How did he conclude this? How did he conclude that? Let's break it down, y'all. Let's look at it. So the main thing to start off with, Shakur has been basically telling people that like fans really don't know. Well, let's hear from Shakur. Let's hear from Shakur. Let's hear from Shakur.
Nah, not at all. You know, the public don't understand what they're watching. Like, person like me, I sit there and I watch over and over. The public, they gonna watch one night, make their opinions one night. But even like, I'll give you an example, like the Edwin De Los Santos fight. The public shitted on that fight. But when I go back and I watch it over and over and over, I appreciate it a lot more, just because of the fact that I know what I'm dealing with. I know what's going on, and I know what's in front of me. I know that there's a great fighter in front of me with speed, power, reaction. And for me to still be able to get that job done, I think it's one of my most underrated performances.
So to speak to that, right, it's like, I think Shakur is kind of stuck in this thing to where he care what the fans think, but he kind of want to make it seem like he don't care. And I'm like, man, I mean, if it's anything like how I was when it came down to, like, especially when I used to make music, it's like when you in a craft and you mastering the craft and you putting out art, because boxing is an art, music is an art. you are like the artists, they're real sensitive about their stuff, man. Like rightfully so. Like, so to be critiqued on something that, you know, most people can't do, right? Because if they could, they would, right? Or maybe people started off doing it for whatever reason, whether it was the streets, you know, whether it was, you know, poor coaching, was it life decisions, like regardless of what it was, they didn't go on to do it. So when you rise the ranks, you achieve the things that somebody like Shakur has done, where he went to the Olympics and medal, silver medal, you know, was a star in his own right, put Newark on his back. It's almost like when he has a performance, because they do call it a performance, right? And he doesn't get the responses, or he doesn't hear the glowing praises that he believes he's done based on the performance that he had in his mind. He's sensitive about it. He's sensitive about it. And they all are. And that's a natural thing, man. Like, that's really a natural thing, that it's okay to be sensitive about your shit. But saying that the fans don't know what they're watching, man, that's like, man, let me get the other things out. And then I'm gonna break it all down. This is what he said.
I can do it all. That's all I'm gonna say. So come July 12th, the fans gonna see a lot different aspects of my game, and they gonna respect this part of my game a lot more.
So he's saying, come July 12th, which is not too far away, it's right around the corner, the fans are going to respect this part of his game. Now, if this the part of the game that actually made us enamored with Shakur, of course, they're going to celebrate it. The Shakur that used to let his hands go, he used to figure you out. He'll figure out, you know, his time, space, and distance. Then he letting his hands go. With combination work, clean, pristine combination work. If it's that what he's talking about, yes, we are. And the last thing he said, man, which is, you know, it goes along with the Cold War, right? And we gotta break this down, because this is what I find the most interesting, you know, about the whole thing. Because we didn't ask for Shakur and Zepeda. You know, I mean, this is no knock on Zepeda. We didn't ask for that. You know, but it come about, and to a certain extent, I am glad that he's getting one of the young guns, like one of the guys that's coming up or whatever. He got a background, you know, his fans are all behind him. You know, he works and trains with Saburo Matias, things like that, right? So this is no knock on William Zepeda. This is more us focusing on Shakur Stevenson, because there's a lot of people that actually gravitate towards Shakur Stevenson and have been following him. You know, if you've been following Devin, you've been following Shakur, you've been following Tank, you've been following Ryan, you've been following Rolly, you've been following T.O. You was watching all of those guys and trying to see who was going to emerge. Tank came out as the top dog, the money man, the knockout guy. Devin, you know, he was the legacy guy. Shakur was just one of the purest defensive boxers, pure boxer. Like, I call him the definition in my boxers to watch. T.O., he was the athletic guy that had the explosive knockout power, especially at 35. And when he moved up, you know, people kind of look at him like a boxer puncher who, you know, they kind of question who he is. Ryan, he was the pretty boy who could come in and knock you out if he catch you with the left hook. Rolly was the wild card, came out of nowhere, surprised a lot of people. But we've been watching all these young guys in all their moves, and it came down to where ultimately everybody really wanted to see the Cold War. A lot of people, man, you would have to twist somebody's arm for them to convince you that that's not the biggest fight down there around in and around that weight class that people wanted to see. Now, is that ship sailing? Possibly, because I just told y'all that we in a microwave era where we consume so often and we're not patient enough to allow these things. And the mindset is, oh well, that fighter happened. Like when Keyshawn and Andy Cruz were talked about, they're like, oh, that'll happen down the line. Now they talking about this Zay Quinn and Kermel. Oh, that'll happen down the line. It's like not with the way boxing is going now. Not with the way boxing is going now. Because people are really trying to protect the O. The O is everything. And once that happened, people are also saying that once you take an L, like the fight isn't worth it, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just wow. Like one loss, you know, the Mayweather effect. I thought it was leaving, but it's still here. But let's get down to business. Let's get down to the meat and potatoes of this, because everybody always knows that somehow, some way, they always have to ask about Tank, right? And he says some things in this clip here that's going to be the foundation for this video, and me trying to understand.
Obviously, you mentioned the name. It probably come up in 95% of the interviews you do. Gervonta Davis, do you have to have that fight this year? Or is it like a thing that you're not even like, I don't gotta even have it?
It's kind of crazy. Like, you know, like I done said it 100 times. Like, I'm willing to make the fight happen. I still feel the same way. But I mean, more and more, you know, I mean, you gotta go do what you gotta do. But more and more, it's just kind of like, I don't want to keep chasing somebody that's like, he's like a little girl, like he feel as though like you chasing after him. Like, no, I'm just trying to make the best fight in the sport. I'm trying to make boxing great. I want the best versus the best. I want to prove that I'm the best. That's all I want. It's not that I'm chasing you, that I keep your name in my mouth, or bro, it's the fight that the world want to see. It's the fight that the fans keep calling on. So that's why I'm saying it. But with him, it just seemed like, you know, he on some little girl shit too. Where it's like he feel as though you chasing after him, or like I need him or some shit. Like, nigga, I don't need you. I'm already fucking filthy rich, my damn self, bro. So like, it ain't even the money. It's just the fact that, nigga, we the best fighters in the sport of boxing. So I want to make, bro. So like, it ain't even the money. It's just the fact that, nigga, we the best fighters in the sport. It ain't even the money. It's just the fact that, nigga, we the best. And the money is just the. It ain't even the money. It's just the fact that, nigga, we the best fighters in the sport of boxing. It ain't even the money. It's just the fact that, nigga, we the best fighters in the sport of boxing. So I want to make the best fight the best. But if you feel as though you got some girl shit going on there, I ain't on some little girl shit too. Where it's like he feel as though you chasing after him, or like I need him or some shit. Like, nigga, I don't need you. Like I need him or some shit. Like, nigga, I don't. You chasing after him, or like I need him or some shit. Like, nigga, I don't need you. I'm already fucking. I need him or some shit. Like, nigga, I don't need you. I'm already fucking filthy rich, my damn self, bro. So like, it ain't even the money. It's just the fact.
Okay, now. So he feel like Tank is on some girl shit, and he feel like Tank feel like you gotta chase him. And he also said that he just want to make the best fights. That's a big fight. He just want to. They want the best to fight the best. But if he feel like he on some girl shit, I don't need you. I'm already fucking filthy rich. It ain't even about. He said it ain't even about the money. Which, that's the thing that I'm like, that's the thing that kind of gets me, man, a lot of the times, man, when with these guys when they be getting interviewed and stuff like that. It's like you tell us something one day, and the next interview, the next time we hear from you, you saying something different. So, okay, to my understanding, this is what I'd be trying to say if the shoe was on the other foot. Because we saw how Tank was managed, or however you want to put it, maneuvered or whatever. Like, because at the foundation of most of these guys, with the exception of a few, like Loma coming in early, like, you know, right off the bat, like getting title shots like 2-3 fights in, and the way that they're moved. All of these guys, they come in, and the people that have a vested interest in them, the people that sign them, they have a plan. They actually have to ingratiate them with the fans. They actually have to match make them in a manner to where they can get exposure. So in the infantile steps of these boxers, it's all the same. So most of the time when they say, I'm just fighting whoever they're putting in front of me, that is true. We also know that according to contracts, most of the time, they don't really have too much of an option. They might have an option, but in the very, very beginning, they're all managed the same. Some of them are actually handheld a little bit longer. And we all know that at top rank is known as the starter pack. We all know that. Like, if you young, you up and coming, you want exposure because they've been with ESPN. That's who they were, like the leader in sports. You know, highlight reel, like that was the network. So if you were a young guy coming out the Olympics, or you was young and hot to try it, you sign over there, they're gonna get you. They're gonna match you up on this. They're gonna stuff you on some undercards. They're gonna get you out in front of some different audiences, get you out in front of some different cities, get people to see, you know, if you're gonna resonate with the fans. So up until a certain extent, you can't say really nobody's ducking nobody. But come on, we got to be real that, especially when we're looking at the 135 division, if you're going to connect the dots, you can be saying, and this happens over and over again. I can use T.O., I can use Bud, I can use Keyshawn, I can use Shakur, I can use all of these, Lomachenko, I can use all of these guys that was over there on Top Rank, you know, and when you hear them say some things sometimes like, oh man, those guys over there, they don't want to fight me, they don't want nothing. It's like, okay, but if we look at the champions, especially when they groom you and they put you in a championship position and you grip one of them belts, it's also known, I knew this when Teofimo Lopez spilled the beans, and most of the time when you win a championship, it's either 2 or 3 or 4 more fights you got to do. It's like at least 3, sometimes it's 3. So if you win a belt, because that's what T.O. was complaining, they matriculate and get you across the finish line, get a belt or get a strap around your waist. You gotta do some more time with them, and rightfully so. They invested in you. They put you out there, like, you know, it's gonna be something. And it's not until you get to that point where Floyd was, or where Manny was, or like when you get to that point to where you can take off. It's like, okay, we done build you up. You got a championship. You a household name. Your skills, you develop all of that stuff, and you can take off. You can really ascend. It's not really until that point, right, where you can stand on your own too. Tank kind of did it a little bit faster. He didn't go the Olympic route. He went over there. He got signed with Floyd. Floyd managed him. Floyd, you know, matched him up, you know, and inside the ring, he was doing his job. He became known as a knockout artist. So people gravitated towards wanting to see him. Yeah, he stuffed them on some undercards and, you know, placed them just like Tank putting people on his undercards now and placing them like Scooter Davis, you know, that looked like he got a lot of potential and things like that. That's what happens. Sometimes the guy that maybe every now and again, a guy that you might fight next might be on the undercard, and they'll, you know, do something like that. Like when Gamboa was on the undercard, you know, and then Tank went down there to Atlanta and did what he did to him. You know, those things happen, right? But Tank became the guy in the division as far as money and power, like A-side power, basically. You know, and I hate getting into the whole A-side, B-side, but it's funny how when you do have an A-side, B-side, this new generation, even though they want to be like Floyd or they always comparing themselves to Floyd and all that, Floyd basically said when he was the B-side, he went and did whatever the A-side was going to do. He took it, and then he became that guy. And that guy was Oscar De La Hoya. So, in part, when I heard Shakur say, I just want to make this, I'm like, okay, so in your actions, did you want to make that? Because it was announced that you was going to be a free agent, right? Your contract was going to be up. You was wearing your options. Top Rank had a plan, right? And for those of you who've been around, we all know that at the time when Shakur left, the other two belts was on, let's not even say his side of the street. The other two belts were owned by Top Rank. So 3 of the belts was with Top Rank. One of the belts, Tank had the other belt, the WBA. So when he left Lomachenko and Baranchek had just got that belt. So it was Lomachenko and Baranchek that had the belts. So we were questioning, okay, well, what are you doing? Because if you leave, right? Yeah, you can go, do something, but everybody was like, oh, okay, he free now. He has power to be able to fight who we want. Because the way I see it is, when it comes to the A-side stuff, right? Tank the A-side to everybody else. But these other guys are A-sides to everybody else. So like if anything like Shakur going up against Tank would be the A-side, right? So they put the onus on Tank to try to make it happen. Like he's the one responsible for not making. Nah, man, I blame that on the A-side. A-side's supposed to make it happen. It's like, well, this new era, like I keep saying new era, but this current era that we're in, it's like it don't work like that. Especially when you got options and there's people out here that got money and they like, well, shoot, I can go make a bag over here and I ain't got to worry about doing all of that. It's like, okay, well, Shakur is the A-side to everybody else. And we saw it in the Frank Martin where, I got on Frank. I said, man, Frank, man, you should have took that opportunity, man. I mean, I can't tell you what your worth was, but you should have took that opportunity. I called it straight out. I said, man, you going to avoid that opportunity for an extra little which he didn't get. You going to avoid that opportunity with Shakur to go get knocked out by Tank. And that's what came to pass. So in the moment, Frank was wrong. The only right, so in that Frank and Shakur exchange, Frank was wrong. I can't really say he was wrong. Because we went on to see that he wound up getting a Tank fight, and then he did get knocked out, but he got that big bag. And in today's era, that's what's important to these guys, the bag, right? Well, the boxing purists say, nah, when the best fight the best, it's like we want y'all all to get paid. We want y'all all to have career high paydays. We want the boxing business to take care of you. We've seen veterans who can't even feed themselves and have issues. We don't want to see y'all like that. But when Shakur was the A-side and it came down to an extra little he didn't budge. They was like, nah, you signed it. Frank was like, I just want a little I want an extra little and I was on the side of saying, hey man, somebody on your team or somebody over there, they made this deal. Obviously, they think that this is a great deal for you, Frank, so you need to take it. Who am I to get inside of their business? But you got to think, When that happened, Shakur didn't budge on the money, on the price point. He called him a B. I think he a B. He won't fight me. He this and this and that. But I'm like, okay, that was you as an A-side, right? So we're going to parking lot that whole concept. We're going to parking lot that. When he left Top Rank, and I'm not going to quote because I hate quoting these guys' numbers and getting all into their finances, right? So we're not going to do that. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you can go back and look at what the deal was. He went and he left, or he announced he was a free agent. He left. Eddie was already taking on the role as promoting Shakur. He was already taking on that role. It was like, well, dang, do he know something that we don't know, or what's going on? Because it seemed like, man, it seemed like they might be married. Like, this might not just be, they not just dating, they might be married. And lo and behold, it was like one of the fastest free agency signings I've ever seen. Like, the way it was like, yeah, I'm looking, I'm weighing my options, and then boom, Matchroom announces that Shakur Stevenson, blah, blah, blah. Now, mind you, the caveat to this, which nobody really talks about, why? I don't know. The caveat to this was he signed with Eddie with an understanding that Eddie is to not negotiate the Tank fight. Let me say it again. He signed over there with Eddie, and he basically said, look, Eddie is like, you like trying to negotiate a Tank fight. No, don't even try to do that. So not only were like there were other two belts. Now what happened was Lomachenko, he fell back. Lomachenko retired before he retired. That was kind of musty what he did as far as all that time when he had the belt and he was, you know, mulling it over. Mind you, but the belt had also changed hands. The Baranchuk fought it. He was gone. He was inactive for a hot minute when him and Navarrete fought. So then comes Keyshawn and he grabs the belt. When the minute Keyshawn sits in that seat and he grabbed that belt, that WBO, it was already known that Shakur and Keyshawn wasn't going to fight. So that was done. Loma was out the picture. And you signed with a promotional company that could not make the Tank fight. It was express orders that he was not involved. So let's fast forward to what he's saying now. Or shall we rewind? Tank, when he got free, because people really don't know when or whatever. Like, we had thoughts or when. I don't know, man. I don't know when exactly it was, but I think it was around the time. It was around the time when the Hector Garcia fight had came around, because the Ryan fight had came around, and the second time, I'm talking about the second time, not the one when Ryan went and he had, you know, mental health or whatever, and he had to go deal with when they, you know, when he said all that stuff on Mike Tyson podcast. When it finally came to fruition, because Ryan was supposed to take a tune-up fight, and Tank, you know, Tank was going to go ahead and get Hector Garcia out of the way, stay active, get Hector Garcia out of the way, and then come around and fight Ryan in April. So Tank did what he needed to do. Ryan pulled out and was like, nah, you know, I'm just going to go into the Tank fight. I don't want to jeopardize nothing. I'm just going to go into the Tank fight. Right? So that came to pass. So that was like, that's the marker where I deem, you know, that's the marker I deem where Tank was like, you know, it could have been before. But that's the time when I said, okay, Tank, he's basically calling the shots. Like, he's calling his own thing. Like, he's finally like out from up under the wings. You know, he's not on the Mayweather program. You know, he's not being guided in that way. So that's what he was. And I was like, okay, cool, I can get with this. So Hector Garcia, Ryan Garcia, he ran into those legal issues, came back around from years ago, you know, bit him in the butt again. And he come back and he choose Frank. I said, man, it's about, man, if this is any indication, If this is any indication as to how Tank gonna be moving, like I was excited. So you gotta think, he sent or was in talks for Loma. Loma was like, nah, family time. They always bring this up. Tank people, somehow Tank people and Shakur people was talking. You got a reason that they were not talking to figure out, what time, what is tea time? When are we gonna tee off? When are we gonna sit down for crumpets and tea? That's not what it was. You got to think that he was calling you for a fight. They was trying to, and y'all say y'all gonna revisit that. So in order to revisit, that means you had to visit. There had to be an initial something going on. But for whatever reason, and a lot of people say that it's because of the guarantee and all this. It's like, man, people be trying to slander how much these fighters make when they get in the ring with Tank. I have not heard not one fighter complain. I think that this is a talking point that's only on YouTube when they talk about that guarantee, because it's also a stigma when it comes down to PBC and how they do business. But they be so, oh man, he got this guarantee, he got this, like that was guaranteed or whatever. This is not like NFL. It's not like the NFL to where anything, like the only thing that's guaranteed is the guarantee in the NFL. It's not like that. Where you might sign a 6-year, $70 million with 55 guaranteed. That's the only thing, most of the time, that's the only thing you're going to get is that 55. The 70 sound good, that's ice on the cake. It's not like that in boxing. Especially when you're dealing with a guy that can put butts in seats. So it's down to the dance partners. And I don't understand. People want to reproduce what happened with Tank and Ryan, but they don't want to reproduce what happened with Tank and Ryan. You got to think. Ryan made a decision. He told Oscar and them, no, I want this fight now. Because, Oscar was trying to, like, manage. You seen what happened with the Kid Austin situation, like how he didn't want him to do the Shakur thing. He didn't. Then, ironically, mysteriously, something happened. You know what I'm saying? We still don't have no answers on that. But Ryan had to do something. Tank had to do something. They had to agree to something, and boom. Nobody else has done that and walked away with that kind of bread and they set. People don't want to give them no credit. They set it off by doing that fight. Cause we got Tank, we got Bud and Spence after that. So they was front running on that situation. And the numbers that they had still were not duplicated. So with the background being laid, oh, okay. I got you. With the background being laid, on the foundation being laid, right? It brings me back to what Shakur said, right? And we gonna cook. We gonna cook, man. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is what confuses me.
Obviously, you mentioned the name. It probably come up in 95% of the interviews you do. Gervonta Davis, do you have to have that fight this year? Or is it like a thing that you're not even like, I don't gotta even have it?
It's kind of crazy. Like, I done said it 100 times. Like, I'm willing to make the fight happen. I still feel the same way. But, more and more, he got to go do what he got to do. But more and more, it's just kind of like, I don't want to keep chasing somebody that's like, he's like a little girl, like, he feel as though, like, you chasing after him, like, no, I'm just trying to make the best fight in the sport. I'm trying to make boxing great. I want the best versus the best. I want to prove that I'm the best. That's all I want. It's not that I'm chasing you, that I keep your name in my mouth, or bro, it's the fight that the world want to see. It's the fight that the fans keep calling on. So that's why I'm saying it. But with him, it just seemed like, he on some little girl shit too, where it's like he feel as though you chasing after him, or like I need him or some shit. Like, nigga, I don't need you. I'm already fucking filthy rich, my damn self, bro. So like, it ain't even the money. It's just the fact that, nigga, we the best fighters in the sport of boxing. So I want to make the best fight the best. But if you feel as though you got some girl shit going on there, I really don't give a fuck about it like that.
I don't need you. I'm already rich. It ain't about the money. It ain't about the money, but there's always this gravitational pull coming from over there in the Middle East where they got that oil. For him to do something is like, okay, man, let's think about this logically. You just went over there and you latched on with Eddie and Turkey and got the Turkey money and all that. You just got that money that you never seen. You just got to a position where you just said after the Padley fight, you made more money than ever. That was your highest whatever, right? Tank been doing that. So when did it not become about the money? Because the people that walk around with that lycra tight shirt, long sleeve with the S on his chest, and it's not for Superman. For these guys that walk around with that on, with the S for Shakur on their chest, they'll say, oh man, it was the money, it was the guarantee. Shakur is saying it's not about the money. I'm already filthy rich. I just want to make the biggest fight. So what is it? That's one question. He said it's not about the money. The other thing is, listen, and I promise you we're gonna cook. I just want to get this out so we can talk, man. And all of the foundation of what I'm saying is going to be out there, right? This is the thing. I'm thinking, we all were thinking that it was premature to leave Top Rank. Since you left Top Rank, man, it's been a little rocky, man. You was going to fight somebody coming off of a knockout loss in Cordina, right? Then when you and Zepeda was going to do it, he got hurt, right? You call him, something. But when you got hurt, nobody called you anything. So that was a double standard. You get the Josh Padley, cool, I guess, is a fill-in. And that's not really, you can't really say that's really, you can't put that really on Shakur, even though they saying there was other options, but we really got to put the onus on Schofield for that, right? Health is wealth. They say they was unhealthy. Okay, cool. We're going to see. Eventually. And now Zepeda come back around, and the excitement, like when Shakur came on and said, oh man, I really want that fight, and he's not that good, but I really want that fight. I mean, I've never seen a champion really pursue his mandatory like that, for one. I've never even seen that same energy. See, with Tank, it's almost like, nah, see, I really don't need you like that. I'm not going to be chasing you. But the energy is different when it comes down to Zepeda. Like, the energy is a little different when it comes down to Zepeda. And he's saying, I'm really going to have to fight. And I really got to, he's been training. And, Shakur, Zepeda is going to come with his best. He even laid out his game plan. He laid out his game plan. He thinks that Zepeda fades in the second half of the fights. So his game plan really is to take him into deep waters and drown him. And also to make sure he's going to work on his effective punching and not letting Zepeda dictate the pace. And he's very confident about this fight because he's saying that Panda knows him. He knows, he's telling Zepeda how good he is and, all of this stuff. But he put out his game plan, which was kind of, you know, I mean, yeah, it's something as a fan, you kind of, you know, I guess it's good for us, but I don't know, man. But bottom line, he's basically saying he knows the payday ain't on his level. The fans are going to see, but he still don't think that a lot of the fans know shit about boxing. And before we cook, that's the last thing I'm gonna say. I think that's one of the issues when it comes down to Shakur. It's this love-hate relationship he has with his fans. And it's almost like insulting your fans. And this is almost like the fans, it's almost like sex, right? You can't tell, like, you thinking, come on, girl, I beat it up. Like, you know I did. You know, girl, I had you. It's like if she be like, nah, like, if like, remember the movie Liar Liar? When he took that, you know, y'all know Liar Liar, what came down, Jim Carrey. And she was like, was it good for me? Was it good for you like it was good for me? And he looked over and he was like, I've had better. And all you heard was whoosh. The next thing you know, he's walking outside. He's like, I've had better. Like, what? Because he couldn't lie. It's just like that, man. It's like if you have to go around and you have to, every time you have a performance, you have to say, oh no, man, see, because what I did was I put my left foot here, I put my right foot there, I spent around, I did the hokey. Like, you don't have to explain the sweet science. See, the thing is, right, when the sweet science is displayed, the fight will have enough value to where, as people watch it over and over and over again, they'll pick up and say, oh, especially when they're looking for some things. But in the moment, he's right. Fans see one fight, they do this. But what about those ones that's been watching boxing for years, who they seen hundreds of fights? You trying to say that they don't know what they're talking about? It's like, no, you got to let that go. You got to let that go, because Quentin Tarantino, he ain't out here arguing with people who say that, you know, his movies is trash or whatever. It's like, man, I made my money. This is my art. It is what it is. You can try to tell the people that design Burberry and, you know, Dior, you can try to say, oh man, that bag was trash. You know what they're going to say? Oh, well, they're not going to be out arguing with the people that actually are responsible for the money paying. So, Shakur say, come July 12th, the fans are going to respect the performance. And I hope so. I hope we turn back the hands of time just a smidge. I hope the exercise he's been doing with his hands and all that, I hope he is fully, because, you know, some boxers are on borrowed time. And there are some young, hungry wolves out here. And I want him to beat the snot out of Zepeda. I ain't gonna lie. I want him to put on his best performance. I want him to have a performance of a lifetime. But to say Edwin De Los Santos, that performance was underrated. It was like, man, I give you credit for being able to bluff the guy like that. I give you credit for basically pulling a fast one over there and getting out of there. That was smart. That was smart. That was sly. Right? I know Edwin was probably kicking himself. But like, this whole thing about you having to explain the X's and O's and you have to go over the sweet signs after every one of your fights, that just means that the performance wasn't up to par as far as what the fans expected. And we all know that Shakur's belief is a win is a win. Now that works for Shakur, but a lot of fighters don't do that. Like, if Tank don't get a knockout, a win ain't just a win. What up, AC?
Was good, bro. Was good. Yeah, I caught the probably the last half of your cook, but it would be hard for people to sit there and deny or have a a a a, a comment or pushback to anything you said that would actually make sense. Like you can't give a legitimate argument on why he does some of these things. You know what I'm saying? Um, the thing is, for me, if you out here trying to explain your performance, you yourself wasn't happy with your performance. So you're trying to convince people that what they saw was something uh, that was supposed to be remarkable. We people said Floyd Mayweather, you know, some of his biggest detractors said he was boring. But Floyd never had an issue with putting asses in seats and generating pay-per-view views. So you taking this boring ass dude, but he's fighting people like a Manny Pacquiao. He's fighting the Miguel Cottos. You feel what I'm saying? Um, he's fighting the Shane Mosley. Despite what you want to say at timing or whatever, you still got that from Floyd. And when he was putting dudes out, what people fail to realize is here's a boxer who's entertaining. You can have a boxing style that is entertaining. Case in point, Richard Hitchens' last performance. If a person tells me that that wasn't an entertaining performance against a hella game, I'm not saying he's the most skilled, but I'm talking about a hella game fighter that's not going to quit, then that's what you got in that fight. You feel what I'm saying? And I'd rather look at fights like that 100 days, you know, out of a year than to spend 365 days looking at a fight where a guy seems to have to tell me why he did what he did. Here's the thing. And I'm just bringing it up as an example. Devin Haney has told nobody why he chose that fight, why he fought his last fight like that. It is what it is. You got what you got. Mm-hmm. And keep it pushing. I'm not going to go back to give you information on how to detect me or whatever. And to kind of give up a game plan, I think you're trying to get in front of something. I don't know what it is, but for me, we're going to see the sweet science. We're going to see your boxing skills because I think Zepeda is going to test your resolve. I have you beating Zepeda easily. This should be a real easy because when people say certain people are tailor-made for you, they're tailor-made for you. But my biggest caveat is, does your hands hold out? Can you fight a 12 round fight where you're constantly putting hands on a person, you know, to keep them off you and keep them honest? So for me, that's where it all falls. The shit that he said about Tank, I always have to laugh because it's like, Shakur, when are you gonna stop trying to convince people that you really want the Tank fight when you were right there? First, your people were saying it was the money, then there was 1 fight deal, 2 fight deal. If it's the best fight, even if it was a 1 fight deal, if it's good enough, people will demand it, and you probably get your rematch.
But AC, like, now I was trying to buy into something you said a while ago as far as these guys having to use their social media to promote themselves. Which I'm like, I understand it, but like now I'm always questioning, okay, do I believe this or do I believe that, or is this sensationalism? Because listen, I kind of outlined the fact that you had an option.
Yeah.
So like chasing, like when have you ever chasing? Like to me, just tell me, and the chat can tell me too. The chat, this is a question, y'all. Do it seem like he wanted this Zepeda fight, more, or did he want the Tank fight more? Because to me, I don't ever recall Shakur chasing Tank. When was he like? When did he ever chase Tank?
Yeah, that's the part that I was like getting ready to come to. Like, when did you ever chase this man? When did you ever put yourself in a position where people are like, yo, he really there? Again, you were supposed to be right there. You walked away. Top
See,
rank and everybody was saying you was trying to make the fight. The fight was going on. You gave updates to it. Then you walk away for Joe Cordina and the possible. My man right here said when he plays spades, he don't play possibles.
yeah, a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. If the Brad broad got you on the line, she say I'm at the hotel. She not calling you to try to figure out if you going to go get a shape up or edge up. She trying to get her back blown out. You know what I'm saying? Like she trying to have some action. Like we're not calling you for crumpets and tea, my guy. So with that being said, right? After that, and I'll be trying to ask the OnlyFans, the ones who I actually know more about Shakur than they do. I'll be trying to ask those guys because it'll make it seem like I'm not a Shakur fan, even though I really am. I'll be trying to ask them in action, and they still haven't answered me. In action, what action did he take to show that he wanted a Tank fight? Like to me, it was no action. Like you go over there and sign with Turkey thinking that it was the money, but then full circle now, AC, tell me this. Man, I'm actually filthy fucking rich. I don't need you. Okay, and it ain't about the money. Like verbatim, that's why I had to capture that. Verbatim, it's not about the money. I don't need you. I just want to make the big fight. When did you try, my nigga?
Yeah.
Well, if it ain't about the money, like what is it about then? And where is this chasing? Where is this hot pursuit that you had?
Yeah, that's the part I'm at, because you yourself, when asked about the update to the fight and leading up to you giving updates to the fight, you did say that fight is bigger than Bud versus Canelo. It is the true biggest fight in boxing. So again, we're asking, when did you initiate anything? Because now all of a sudden, for Zepeda, a fight you know you can win, and the fans know you can win, you super hyped for that fight because you want to put on some sort of masterclass performance against a guy that everyone is expecting you to win. But the toughest fight that, you got a lot of fans saying you can't do it, is probably 60-40 or 70-30 that says you can't beat him. You weren't chasing that dude. You got enough money. You don't need him. It's shit like that when you're a fan sometimes of these young dudes, it's like, hold on, man. When the fuck did we start doing that? When the fuck is that part of the game plan to be like, yeah, I'm this the biggest fight, yada yada yada. Now that it still can be visited, and you see your man's over there, him and the Turk trying to work something out. Now it's like, I don't need him. I'm rich beyond my wildest dreams. I got enough money. I ain't worried about money. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm like, my friend, you got to reel some of that shit back in. Again, this is where your ego starts lying to you, and you start regurgitating that shit in interviews because you think this is what your fan base really, really wants to hear. The goofy motherfuckers do, but not your real fans.
And look, Smoke brought up a good point. I remember because he was over there in Top Run. He pursued Valdez. That's a chase. He chased Valdez.
Oh yeah, he couldn't keep Valdez's name out of his mouth. All I want is Valdez. Give me Valdez. A Canelo. Y'all talking all this with Valdez and Valdez. I'm like, okay, you got that fight now, bro.
So I'm like, okay, so you chased, like, I'm trying to figure out when did you chase, like, because my man in the comment section, Elite Bulldogs, he said Elite Bulldogs 95. Appreciate you joining the conversation. But he's saying we must be Tank fans, and it don't. Regardless of who fans we are, I just told you I'm a Shakur fan. I don't do videos about people that I'm not a fan of. So I'm asking you. When did he chase Tank? Like a call out? Everybody call out. Like I mean, a call out. And then you said he can go sign wherever he want, and now Tank always trying to you answering everything, and this is where it's about to get ugly for you, man. This is where it's about to get ugly for you because you starting to distract now. We came out. I'm asking a legit question. I'm asking you a legit question. There's some fighters out here. They'll get out there and say whatever. They'll. The same thing when I was calling it on Keyshawn. I said, now he's saying the Tank stuff now. He's saying it now, but we know he over there in Top Rank and they got a plan. He was saying he said the knock stuff when he did the eliminator against Gustavo Lemos. And I said, watch y'all. I said, I bet you as soon as he win that title, because he talking about it's two other guys, they knew who they are. I would love to fight him. I said, now watch when he win that strap, he ain't gonna say Tank name. And that's what he says. Two other guys out there. So we knew it wasn't Shakur because they wasn't gonna fight. So a call out, he was calling Tank out the whole time. Everybody called Tank out from the Oya anyway. Even Bud said, "Oh, if you think you're sweet up here, I tell him come test my chin." They all call him out. Everybody, Conor Ben. So a call out, you gotta come with more than a call out, bro. You gotta come out with more than a call out, bro. For us to even entertain you anymore, man.
I don't mean to be childish. Liar, pants on fire. Boy, you need that money. Stop acting like that.
And that's what I'm saying. So now I'm filthy rich. Like, where was this? Like, where's this? That bag must be nice, man.
The money's so good it made me dirty. I'm filthy rich. Like, come on, bro. You filthy rich now?
Now you filthy rich, right? And it ain't about the money. Did y'all hear this man say it ain't about the money?
Yep.
Okay, so why didn't we get the fight?
Yep. When you was there, when y'all was supposed to be talking.
Why we ain't get the fight? Elite Bulldogs, why we ain't get the fight? But when he reach out, then he say, nah, like you don't, I mean, come on, man. This is what I be trying to say, man. Like, y'all be adamant when it come down to troll and say stuff because y'all think somebody is trying to, like, hate on somebody. But y'all never have no answers. Even when you hear from the fighter's mouth, when you hear from this is Shakur, this was just the other day. It's like 2 days ago. This was like 2 days ago. I could have did this live last night. It was already ready. I just said, I'm gonna go every other day. So I didn't do it last night. I let it breathe a little bit. But like when you hear a fighter out of his own mouth say, "Hey man, it ain't even about the money," and I'm chasing you. When I ask you as a fan, as an only fan, when did he chase Tank? You have no. He said numerous times that Tank is in control and the fight gonna happen on Tank time. He said he want to fight and he'll beat him. What can he do if Tank the A-side? Because Tank don't. So when they talked, and he said he was going to revisit it. Why is he? So when they talk, what happened? Elite Bulldogs. What happened? And it's a link right there. If you can enlighten us, it's a link.
See,
the link is for everybody.
See, the thing is, it's like you'll hear what the fighter says, and then they'll tell you what he meant. It's not what he said; it's what he meant. See, nah. See, you ain't listen to what he said. What he meant was, I heard what he said.
They do that all the time, man.
For real, nah, nigga, you ain't listen to what he said. What he meant was, what? So.
But you speak Shakurian, AC?
Yeah, a little bit. I've taken a couple of classes in it. For real.
L Dub, what's going on, man? Salute, man. But yeah, I mean, I don't, we need an interpreter. We need an interpreter. I see the boxers interviews. This guy ain't too smart. And Bud proved that shit for me. Yeah, I mean, I'm listen. If it's anything like when you with a woman, right? When it come down to the X's and O's, since they don't want to talk about the tank shit, So even though every interview, that's what it come down to, and he say the most wildest stuff, like he using the whole girl thing. But I'm just like, well, you want to use that analogy? In my opinion, Shakur's acting like he the one that got away. It's like, you're not the one that got away.
Yeah. That's exactly.
I can have any that I want. Like, how did you get away? Like, but you're acting like you're the one that got away. Like, you have, like, it's like, no, come on. Like, if I'm having a conversation with you, or like I said before, they had an understanding, right? To where they were going to spin on the block. Because I swear, I thought I put out there. I know it is. It's on the live. I said I think they had an understanding, and they was going to spin the block, and it was going to be later on, and they knew it. And I think the only thing that really frustrates everything is every time somebody's asked about it, the approach they take when answering it, because they feel like they got to say something or do something for the fans to try to make it seem like you hard or you tough. And I think that's what makes one party upset. It's like, if y'all got understanding, right, that maybe it ain't time, or maybe you need to go do this or you need to go do that, and y'all having a working understanding to where the fight going to happen, you can't outright come out and say that. That's just a hypothesis of mine. You can't outright come out and say that. But you tend to say stupid shit when the fight conversation come up, or you get mad at what he say. So he can't take shots at you about the shit by saying you ain't accomplished. Everybody know you accomplished something. Everybody know what Tank was referring to in that, because Tank understands you was an Olympian. Tank understands that you went through those 3 weight classes and you was a champion and you was unified. He knows that. So you can infer that he was talking about something else, because anybody that know anything about boxing knows that. So, I mean, if you thinking that Tank don't know that when he's in your division and he's watching and he watched boxing and knows all the fighters, that he didn't know what he was saying when he said you ain't accomplished nothing in the sport.
Yeah, definitely.
We know it wasn't about your accolades, brother. And so,
just to piggyback off of what you're saying and add just another little wrinkle to it, we did videos of where we were talking about what was more likely the situation that was going on between the two, that Tank was going to go ahead and do this Lamont Roach fight. Shakur was supposed to have had his hand surgery and got it fixed and all of that. So we was like, yeah, he probably gonna take a tomato can and then fight somebody who can bring a little heat to him. And if he do that, that's letting us know these are like underlying moves that you can plant stakes in the ground and say, yeah, this is what you do if you trying to get that Tank fight. It wasn't like we was asking Shakur to go fight 2 other people to prove himself worthy to fight Tank. Both of them already proven. You feel what I'm saying? Just like the situation with Wilder and AJ, when they were supposed to do that thing, Wilder drops the bag, and that fight doesn't happen. This was kind of like the same thing, but on Shakur end, it was speculated that he was going to take these 2 fights and then possibly revisit the Tank fight after he knows his hands is good. Because going into his own people, there were concerns that, yo, can you beat Tank in the condition your hands are currently in? It would be foolish for you to take that fight. So we gave him the mulligan on moving the other way, although it's just a talking point sometimes we use just to troll the Shakurians. You feel what I'm saying? But true story, we gave that man a mulligan because it's like it would be retarded for you to go into a Tank fight, get knocked the fuck out or get knocked the fuck out bad, and you can't even put up a competent defense because your hands won't hold up. So we gave him that mulligan. Now we're looking at what's going on, and you saying all of this other stuff, just like Body just alluded. You feel what I'm saying to saying that okay, now you said some shit that would piss off the opposite side. Tank pissed off the opposite side when he said this shit about what has Shakur done. Now you pissed off the opposite side because you're making your comments. I'm filthy rich. I don't need him. I'm not chasing him. Yada yada yada. You getting under everybody's skin. So if at the end of the day you two guys are slowly trying to build this fight, all right, cool. I ain't got no problem with that. Start to build the fight up, offer the Zepeda fight, and be true to it. Don't gaslight us and try to build the Zepeda fight off of Tank's name, knowing you have no inclinings on fighting Tank next. So for me, that's what I'm like. I don't mind if you build it off Zepeda, if you build the Zepeda fight off of Tank, but make sure you gonna tell me that you fighting Tank next.
Yep. What up, Koki?
Yo, salute Body, salute AC,
Salute.
Smoke Session. What's up, guys? Everybody hit the like, subscribe to Bodywork. I wanted to ask you guys a question about Shakur, right? Bodywork mentioned about Top Rank, the deal that Shakur had with Top Rank. So we know that Shakur is with Eddie now. He's on that whole, that whole project with Eddie. But I want to know, like, if the outcome on July 12th, if Shakur, hypothetically, right, is a tough fight, something goes wrong with his hands, and the worst possible outcome you can imagine, right? How do you guys think Shakur would approach the Tank fight? Because I think some people may feel like with this fight, if he doesn't get that performance that he's talking about, do you think that he'll fumble the Tank bag, like that bag for a potential Tank fight? Because you know how guys treat their like undefeated record and all that, to kind of keep themselves like, yo, I'm that guy. But I'm not gonna look at. I'm just saying for me, I want to know how you guys feel about it, because I'm not gonna look at Shakur any less. I respect him for taking the tough fight at 135, and I think it increases his value no matter what. So I'm going to be into that fight, Shakur and Tank. I just think other people may use this Zepeda fight as, if Shakur doesn't win it, he'll be like, maybe he don't deserve Tank. So I want to see how you guys think about that.
But let me kick it off. First, like, Tank is not that. He's not that way. I think Tank's still gonna want to fight him. Like, cause he even said it with Devin not too long ago. Like, I think he still would want to fight him. I don't think he really looks at it like that. But let me jog everybody's memory. And this is why I be trying to say, man, and this is why I don't like the fact that y'all run and hide when the tough questions are asked. It's like y'all always think somebody trying to paint somebody in a negative light, and we're not trying to do that. I'm talking to the peanut gallery right now. Listen, after that fight with Josh Padley, and he got the stoppage, so he basically had the momentum, right? They asked him about Tank. You know what he said? I would want my hands to be better. That's what he said. I did a video immediately. It's out here. It's on wax. So then, because we was following the bouncing ball all along. It was Keyshawn, it was Shakur, and we was all looking at Tank. So when the Tank Lamar Roach happened, right? Shakur, after the verdict was rendered, draw and all that, Shakur immediately wanted to fight Roach. And I came out and I said, now these are the games that's being played, because when you were asked about Tank, you said something about your hand. But then you could fight Roach like that. And I called it right then and there. And I said, see, these are the games. This is why I was like, I don't know. Like, but the OnlyFans, they don't ever want to answer me when I ask that question. I'm like, why is it the last time you were asked about it, it was your hands. But then you like, oh, I'll fight Lamont Roach. I want Lamont, you know.
Hey, Koki, I could attest to that one because on that Murderers Row when we was talking about it, right?
Yeah.
We were saying that if the rematch doesn't go through, we don't mind seeing Roach versus Shakur. Yo, he came on the panel hot. Like he came on hot, like sinners with the machine gun and the dirty wife beater with the jump off tips. I know y'all not giving Shakur a pathway out. Fuck that man, no, hold that man accountable. Y'all want to hold Tank accountable, hold that man accountable. I was like, yo, that's what's up, bro. And after he explained it, it's like, yeah, you could, yeah, all right. There were some dudes that, you know, that was like, nah, what do you mean? That's a great this and that. How would you not? He's like, no. If y'all constantly trying to hold that man accountable for what he do, Shakur just said for Tank he need his hands, whatever. For Lamont now, you ready to get in there with Lamont Roach with the same hands? You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, there was some dudes that tried to make arguments, but it was like, bro, y'all speaking heavy Shakurian right now.
And,
you know.
And look, Koki, I want to get more into the matchup. I want to get more into the matchup. It was something that came out about this, and this was really a part of it, but this fight shouldn't be this fight shouldn't be that hard for Shakur, but I think it will be. But what they're going to say, to answer your question ultimately, Koki, at the bottom line, he's going to say he was set up.
I can see that.
They're going to say he was set up, right? And right now he's saying, man, Zepeda's, you know, excellent fight. The same stuff he was saying about De Los Santos, bigging them up and saying all this stuff. But listen to this. Boxing News 24. Why a smaller 16-foot ring is crucial for Shakur Stevenson versus William Zepeda to deliver excitement and avoid fan disappointment. The writers team. This was on 6/22/2025. Some fans want Turki Al-Sheikh to implement a 16-foot ring for Shakur Stevenson versus William Zepeda fight to improve the chances of it being entertaining and not a Tom and Jerry's involving a lot of running on July 12th in Queens, New York. Now you're going to be in Queens. Shakur Zepeda ring size impact. Currently, the ring size is 18 by 18, but there's a strong belief among people that Shakur, 23-0 with 11 KOs, will still have enough room to sprint away from Zepeda, 33-0 with 27 KOs, making the fight pure poison for the eyes. If it's not too late, a 16-foot ring would be perfect for the event to maximize entertainment value from fighters who choose to move all night like Shakur. Considering this event is being broadcast on the DAZN pay-per-view for $59.99 in the US and $24.99 in the UK, there needs to be a special measure in place to increase the chances that fans get value for their money. We don't want furious fans afterward vowing never to order another pay-per-view fight after watching Shakur run around an 18-foot ring trying to evade Zepeda at all costs. Following the disappointing performance of Turkey's Times Square event by Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez, the ring must be reduced to 16 by 16 for the July 12th event at Louis Armstrong Stadium in Queens, New York. It's possible to help boxing if fighters are running around the ring. It's impossible, they said, trying not to get hit and boring the life out of viewers. There are still a massive number of unsold tickets for the event on Ticketmaster, and you've got to suspect that fans are turned off by the idea of seeing Stevenson fighting. He's not the right guy for such a prestigious spot on Turkey's card. Shakur Zepeda should have been positioned lower on the card beneath these entertaining fights. Alberto Puello and Subriel Matias, David Morrell and Imam Kataev. Those fights promise to bring more action than the Shakur Zepeda fight. That's why it would be a good idea to place that fight below those for the July 12th ring. Now they went overboard and they roasted, right? They went overboard and they roasted them, right? But they are creating this thing that Shakur really runs and that he's really boring, and they want to really make it a fight. Shakur is big up in Zepeda saying that he's this and that, but they were already slandering Zepeda after the Tevin Farmer fight, because a lot of people question whether or not he actually won the first one. He did way better in the second one. So it's more of the approach that Shakur Stevenson takes. I believe that there's a lot of pressure on Shakur right now, you know, and as much as he don't want to believe and he want to say it's about the X's and O's and the sweet science and all that, I think he's going to have to fight. And as long as he puts up a valiant effort, regardless of the outcome, if he show up and he show out and it's a great fight, I don't think that his stock is going to take a hit like that, because they're going to try to push Zepeda so high. Now, for us who know Shakur and expect Shakur to beat the shit out of Zepeda, we're going to be like, whoa, depending on the outcome. Because I really don't see no stoppage in this fight. I see a decision. And depending on how they look at it as far as the aggressor and all that, because they've been going for the aggressor here lately, or the A side, really. That's going to dictate who wins the fight. But I think it's a lot of pressure on Shakur going into this fight, and he put out his game plan into this fight.
But that's why I asked a heavy Shakur fan, like heavy Shakur fan. Does Shakur win as a Zepeda fight off his back foot?
What do you think about Zepeda, Koki?
I want people to focus on Zepeda's ability to utilize his jab during pressure, because if you notice, right, his punching combination, he'll do his like 1-2 hook, 1-2 uppercut hook, right? But every combination he has, he's throwing that jab, and what he's doing is he's not really throwing it to throw at your head, throw at, you know, at the body. Sometimes he's trying to get that guard. He's trying to get, you know, the gloves and the elbows and the arms. So I think Zepeda, you know, he's gonna make it a dirty fight too, and I think that's why, you know, whatever the outcome is, Shakur wins by decision, by knockout, he loses, whatever the outcome is, I feel like this fight will put Shakur's stock on a higher level, because they'd be like, you know what, Shakur is a dog. You know, that fight wasn't boring. And I think even with an 18 or, you know, 20 foot, 16 foot, I feel like it's going to be a fight regardless, because it's Zepeda's style. Zepeda is not a De Los Santos. Zepeda is not going to fight on the back foot. You know, obviously he's going to come forward with pressure, but I think his pressure is more scientific as opposed to, you know, somebody that's, you know, like Matias, right? Matias has pressure too, but Matias, he's careless. Like he wants you to, you know, fight back. Whereas Zepeda, he's a little more responsible, you know? And I think even in the Farmer fight where, you know, the Farmer knocked him down and Farmer landed some shots, in those sequences, you know, Zepeda does make guys miss too. He has some, he has some, you know, he's not like a dumb pressure fighter. So I think Shakur is going to not only have to move a lot, he's going to have to think and do it at a volume that he may not be used to, because we know Zepeda leads the division in punches thrown per round, and Shakur has all the tools to negate that. It's just, I'm going to respect Shakur because I feel like he's picking a tough guy in the division. It's not, you know, a pushover fight, but I think this fight would define him, because if you look at boxing styles, right, the slick boxer facing a guy that He wants you to go to deep rounds. He wants you to go to the decision. He actually wants you to fight, to get that decision, because hopefully what Zepeda is banking on, right? He's banking on three things. The first thing is to get Shakur past 6th round, get his punching volume to decrease. Discourage Shakur from, okay, I could fight back. And then he does it, a couple rounds, but then later on he's like, this is actually pretty tiring. I gotta keep this pace up for like another 12 rounds. So I think that's the first thing Zepeda wants to do. The second thing is, I think Zepeda really wants to negate Shakur's jab. So anytime, Zepeda's trying to get in, he's trying to stalk him in a bit, cut the ring a little. He wants to utilize his own jab to negate Shakur's jab. And I think, when we watch that fight, I think we got to look out for that. I feel like if we look out for that, be like, you know what? That's something that made a difference for both of them. And the third thing is, right, Zepeda has to go to that body, man. He got to give that body work, because if he doesn't, I'm telling you, I've seen Shakur spar. He's come to the Bronx. People know him in the tri-state area. He's one of the most recognized amateur guys that we had in the past, 20 years. And this guy, his speed, it's not just quick, but he'll put you in a position where it's like you're going to get tired chasing him, and it's not him running. He'll have you come in, he'll step off on the side and then make you redirect yourself, and he'll throw back. It's not like William Skull just circling the ring for 3 minutes. Shakur gets busy, and I am favoring Zepeda because I am a big fan. That's my top 5 most current favorite fighters, because I love his style. This guy, you don't know that when this guy's gonna get tired. You've seen Farmer knock the shit out of him and then knocked him down and hurt him a couple times, and this guy's still going. So I love Zepeda, but Shakur, this fight, if he wins it for me, I'm gonna definitely kind of be like, yo, this guy got it. You can't say nothing about him until he gets that Tank fight. But this is the thing, right? Eddie Hearn, I'm not sure Shakur could trust this guy, because look at Eddie Hearn's record, right? Liam Paro, Subaru Matias, all these guys he brings to to his thing is it's like a rental. He's renting these guys out for a fight or two, and then he moves on. So I'm not sure if Eddie's that plan that Shakur needs. I feel like Shakur should be with a stable that's gonna at least give him a 5 fight deal or something bigger. I'm not sure what Eddie got lined up for Shakur, beyond anything, but that's my point. I feel like Zepeda got crazy tools to make the fight as difficult as it needs to be for Shakur. He has a lot of tools for that, but so does Shakur. And you can't. I love it because we got so many contrasting styles on that night. We have Shiraz against Berlanga, 2 different styles. You have Alberto Puello against Subaru Matias, 2 different styles, and then now you got Shakur Zepeda. I'm gonna love this. Is honestly my favorite card of the year. I told you guys I'm gonna be there myself in Queens. The tickets were $170. I'm gonna be up in section 116. So I can't wait till I go to the fight. I'm gonna definitely let you guys know and everything. And I wish you guys come through too. So but definitely I'm excited for this fight, man. And you guys break it down so good too for both guys. And I'm grateful that we have we get a lot to break it down, because it's 2 weeks away too, so we got a lot to cover.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Let me ask you one question before I don't know if you about to dip. Let me ask you just one question real quick. Do you think Zepeda learned anything from fighting Tevin Farmer? Because I asked that question. I'm not comparing Tevin Farmer to Shakur, other than their defensive. I know their defensive styles are different, the spacing and all that. I think Tevin, he's a little more, he'll take a little more risk. I think that he showed me that he can take body work. Zepeda went to his body so much. I was like, man, that dude can take that body work. I've never seen nobody sustain that. But do you think Zepeda learned anything from fighting Tevin Farmer, those 22 rounds, that he can bring to the table against Shakur?
All right, I'm going to be honest, right? And I'm only going to be honest because from what I learned about Zepeda's camp over there in Mexico, because you guys know Jacob Nahar, Panda, that's his coach. And, I've been studying Panda the past 5 years, especially when Matias went with him. So Panda, he knows, he trains Shakur too, but like you mentioned, Bodywork, Tevin Farmer, this guy, he's like a Mortal Kombat character. It's like you could try to kill him, but he's going to come back. And this guy took an insane amount of body shots, and he was still game. He was fighting to win. And I don't think Panda himself could teach Zepeda what he's about to face with Shakur, because Panda really likes Shakur. Like, if you ever hear Panda talk about Shakur, that's the guy he praises the most.
Oh, I heard him and Devin. I think he had a little bit of both of them under his
tutelage. Yeah, and he knows like what Shakur could do, because when you're a coach, you're in the gym, you see these guys in the gym, so you see things that are different that the fan is not going to see. So I'm not sure. I know Jacob, he's going to try to train Zepeda to be ready for the fight. But for the Farmer fight, because obviously Farmer's a little different, boxing styles, just punching mechanics and all that. So I'm not sure what he could take from that. It was a tough fight. Obviously, Zepeda had to, readjust and, come back from the knockdown. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no because I think Shakur has different dimensions, and I don't think anybody in Mexico could give Zepeda that kind of sparring that could emulate Shakur's style. Because there's a reason why Shakur, guys like Shakur and guys like Tank, it's hard to get to that level in the first place. But when you develop your own style and then you try to find sparring partners to emulate that style, it gets a lot difficult. So I feel like.
So Koki, let me ask you this question though. So it's gonna go back to just dealing with the Tevin Farmer and Zepeda fight. When you look at just being able to make the adjustments to get around the defensive style. Now, of course, there are fighters out there, you'll never be able to find a sparring partner to mimic them because they're so dimensional. But you go after the one thing that's the common denominator of everything, his defense. You feel what I'm saying? If you can crack the defense code, then you kind of like shake up the mentality. Like, he'll go and do what he needs to do for the defense, but if you're still landing clean shots on him and effective shots, then that might disrupt the methodical mindset. So the question is, in fighting Tevin Farmer, are there any nuances that he may have, in your opinion, you think he may have picked up? Like, all right, when I see a guy go into that position, it's best that I shift over or parry to the right or parry to the left or take a half step back, and that way I could see what he's trying to do, and then I could deliver my defensive shot to his body or whatever. Is it something like that, or did you see anything like that?
Yeah, for Zepeda from that Tevin Farmer fight, those adjustments he could make them, but I do feel like Zepeda, his fighting style, he's the kind of guy you could teach him like an adjustment, but because the way he fights, I feel like whatever adjustment that is, he'll drift away from it to get back into that comfort zone, because Zepeda just likes to come into that high guard, and so eventually he's going to take a clean hit, and he may be knocked down too, because we've seen Shakur get guys off balance and land clean. So Zepeda, I'm hoping he makes that adjustment, but I'm just being real. I feel like guys like him, guys like Matias, you could get them so much adjustments, but because of their fighting style, they tend to go back to those patterns, because some guys, they're just programmed already. Some guys kind of got like a that body, they moved it that certain way so often that it's hard to. That's why you got to give guys credit that make those adjustments and they apply to the fight. I'm hoping he does, but I'm being real. I don't think he will do it just based on his tendencies. I feel like his tendencies will outweigh the any adjustment he learned from those two fights with Tevin Farmer.
Where have you ever have either one of y'all, have y'all ever seen, as far as like the high volume and stuff like that? Because I haven't seen Shakur against anybody with that high volume like that, going against it,
Yeah.
and the exposure is gonna because he's gonna have to keep Zepeda off of him. I mean,
Yeah. Cool.
they already talking about the smaller ring, and I don't even think. See, the article kind of went a little overboard because I don't think Shakur had that kind of pull because Shakur ain't the main event. That might have
Yeah.
been. I don't know how they came up with that ring size. I know it's not going to be as small as that ring we just seen this weekend.
Yeah. Yo, my
lady
bad,
said
guys.
that's
Before I
not gonna
go, I'm gonna leave out of here at 11:30. I want to give you guys a shout out. Shout out to AC. Shout out to Bodywork.
all right, man.
I want to give you guys like a little I'm so excited about this fight. So you mentioned the high volume and how Shakur, would face that. And I look back. I'm not sure you guys remember when Floyd Mayweather he fought Jose Castillo and Jose Luis Castillo, and he rematched him. And I saw the rematch about twice. When I saw the rematch, I'm like, if Shakur fights like that, like how obviously Floyd had more, because we remember Floyd. Like Floyd was very entertaining. He was just a killer in that ring. He's a brutalized guys. He was a legit boogeyman. Back in those days, and I saw Floyd made that adjustment because in the first fight, Castillo's volume was very high. And it was unusually high because usually Floyd, he'll discourage a guy like, Gotti, because Floyd would be like, okay, you want to do that fight shit. You want to do the high volume shit where you're going to get hurt. And, I'm going to hurt you bad. So I'm hoping Shakur could get that style too, because it would make the fight a classic. Like, I'm excited for both of the contrasting styles to do that. But if you guys remember that fight, man, I feel like that could be the blueprint for Shakur. And for Zepeda, he probably want to watch that fight too to see what's coming at him because this is like a fight of a lifetime for him too. So, shout out to you guys for letting me on the panel too, and I'm glad we got this thing going on. So 2 weeks away, I'm hyped, and yeah,
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, definitely. So AC, Body, everybody in chat, enjoy your night. Hit the like and subscribe and get that body work.
At the end of the day, for me,
Appreciate
it's like when
Peace.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. Peace.
All right.
when I size everything up and I look at, what Zepeda is going to bring to the table, I think, his pressure style is the type of thing that, to a certain degree with the smaller ring and everything and not having that ability to move like that, he's got to keep Zepeda off him, just like Floyd told all of these young dudes, that he worked with. At some point, you got to fight. And when that point comes, it's like, okay, will we see Shakur rise to the occasion? Will he step up? Will his resolve show? And people will be like, wow. Even if it is a tough fight, it's still going to come down to the wow moment because of the performance and the dog that he displayed.
Yeah, I'm just questioning because you can disguise it. I mean, hopefully, he done some hand stuff and you wear the right gloves. I just know that just like anything, salute Bills, but just like anything, man, it's like it's one thing when you say, all right, this tire is good, all right, it's good, but then you go get on that rough terrain and you like, thought it was good. Like, I think it's gonna be one of them things to keep him off of him. Shakur says that he's going to dictate the pace. He's not gonna allow Zepeda to dictate the pace. But Zepeda gonna be in there like a bull in a china shop, and he's gonna make Shakur's output go up a lot higher than what he's used to. Or he's gonna be, I ain't gonna say he's gonna be running, or he's gonna be moving. You know what I'm saying? More, trying to keep that clean pocket, like I always say. I was like, see, Shakur, Shakur he will unalive you if you give him his spacing and allow him to use his timing. If you disrupt that and his rhythm, if you can, then he's going to his first instinct is just like how Koki just talked about, how once the fight, you can give him an adjustment to make, and you can tell him the technique or how to look at it. But when it break down, he can go back to doing what he's used to doing, which is, pressure, high volume, hit anywhere, like hit hips, shoulders, wherever he can hit, he's gonna do that.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a key to victory, though.
right, and it is. He has to do that. He has to make it a fight. He has to make it a fight. He's not. Nobody believes Zepeda can win in a boxing match.
Yeah,
I don't think Panda would even try to instill that, right? But this is on the flip side. Shakur can say that he is going to increase his output and he's going to dictate the pace. Well, that output is going to be higher than what he's naturally used to putting on. So when that fight comes, he's going to go back to what he resort to doing.
Yeah,
he's going to go back to trying to create space, and it's going to look like he's evading or maneuvering or
timid.
Yeah, timid, or he's like, it's going to look like he's not engaging, like especially after the Tom and Jerry stuff, after All Eyes, and that's not the first card, I don't believe. And yeah, you're right, Jerry. I mean, but Shakur used to let his hands go. He used to be not even gonna say used to be. I'm gonna say when he was down there at pretty much when he was at 130, 126, he was letting his hands go. You know what I'm saying? He was letting them go, like in devastating combinations. Like once he figured out, okay, you like to do this, and he figured you out, he gonna end the show. Like he could close. That's why I called him the definition of hit and not get hit, because it was one of them things where, like, yeah, he might be a little evasive, but once he figure you out, he gonna make you miss and he gonna make you pay. And that's what got him the comparisons to Floyd.
Yeah,
it wasn't this current style that he's in now. But see, now he's on this a win is a win is a win. But he also wants all of the he wants everybody to sing glowing praises. It's like, no, I mean, yeah, you're gonna keep winning. Like, yeah, that's good for you and your record, but the fight's not gonna have playback value. And I think that the biggest key to this thing right here, I think what Shakur is going to learn is that he needs dance partners.
Yeah,
he needs, like, Zepeda is a because it's a contrast in styles. But like these fights we've been getting in, as far as the opponent selection with him being the A side, even if he's not gonna get the tank, which I'm always pulling for, I'm keeping it right back. I'm defaulting right back to the Cold War every time. But what he's gonna realize is the right person on the other side of you is what's really gonna make the fight and make people clamor to see you.
Yeah.
And how you deal with that.
Now, what I wanted to piggyback off of was when we talk about Floyd and fighting a fight similar to Floyd. When you go back and you look at the Cotto fight, where you look at the Zab Judah fight, and some of the guys who could punch, Floyd was able to slow the pace because he countered everything you did in the first round. You would do something because you're twitchy and you're up. Floyd was relaxed. So when you twitchy and whatever, you react, boop, I caught you. React again, boop, I caught you again. So now, every time you think you're ready to do something, you're always worried about what's coming back to you. And Floyd would sacrifice his hands to make that possible. So this way, yeah, I gotta do what I need to do in the first round. But by the time my hands begin to start hurting, I've already slowed the pace down to whereas now I could pop shot you and stuff like that and just now dominate you on points. That's something that Shakur would have to be willing to do, is to get into that, put himself in position early so he can counter everything that Zepeda's going to throw at him to make Zepeda question what he's doing, no matter what adjustment he's making round after round after round. Floyd would bank those first 4 rounds and taking everything away from you because he counted everything you did. Then he would slow the fight down, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth round, and just pick you apart, make it easy work, like he would say, because he knew the game plan. You a puncher? All right, I know how to make you. I know how to make you put those hands in your pocket. Watch what the fuck I do to you. Yeah, you gonna come out swinging, trying to knock me out, make everybody think that it was some major upset. Yeah, I'm gonna counter the shit out of you, everything, and I'm throwing everything with mean ass intentions. That's what he would do. People, that's what these young people don't understand. You gotta watch and study the dude. It's not about just saying I did something Floyd did or I fight Floyd's life. There was a strategy he brought in to beat people like that.
Right. Great point. Well, yeah, I think we covered it, man. I think it's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be really interesting. I think that regardless if they want to make it appear this way, I think it's a lot of pressure on Shakur, and I think that this is a I'm not gonna say quite crossroads fight, but with the energy that he has behind, I want Zepeda, or the energy that he put into this, man. If he don't come out with that dub, man, we're gonna see how he act. I still think that I still want to see him because I'm not in that Floyd, your overs, whatever. I mean, I kind of like to see a little adversity. I want to see some adversity in this fight. I want to see how Shakur is going to how he's going to approach it. If he's just saying, because here lately he's been saying things before the fight and acting like he Tupac Shakur before the fight, and then after the fight he go back to, well, winners and winners and win. It's like, yeah, winners and winners and win, but when you put up there in that upper echelon of talent, and people say, just like they say Boots is the second coming of Roy Jones, and they say that Shakur is Floyd Mayweather 2.3 whatever they want to say, it's like, well, if you take those glowing praises, we're gonna want to see those crazy performances that they put on, so you can really stamp who you are. And right now I think it's a little bit like we gotta kind of see who Shakur is right now. And I'm definitely not as high on Zepeda as Koki is, but I think that the style clash is the biggest factor because Zepeda's coming.
Yeah,
It's gonna be like a lawnmower, you know what I'm saying? And if
he's
you
gonna be
can't
right
tame
there for
him,
you.
if you can't tame him, or you have to use those hands more because you got a certain amount of punches because he was hurting against Padley, man. He hurt them things against Padley. So that's what's going to be interesting. That might be a time when we get to see how, like, Mr. Gray Russell fought Mark Maxey, or how Tank had to fight Pitbull. And then that's when you really get to see, because we already seen it with De Los Santos. And this the thing. We talked about this before. And this is my last thing. He got away with it against De Los Santos.
Yeah,
I think with the climate around boxing and the Tom and Jerry and the lackluster and all that, I don't think that he get his hands raised in that same type of performance. If he do that elusive stuff like he did with De Los Santos, I don't think he get his hand raised. Why? Because Zepeda has a backing and they want him. So it's like, it's a lot of elements that's going against Shakur, but he is talented enough to pull it off. It's just like, how is he going to do it is the question. And that's it. That's all I had, man.
yeah, great show, man. On to the next one, bro. On to the next one. We just, when it comes to fight week, then I don't mind, going a little bit deeper and really chopping it up about each person stylistically, because there's two major factors for me in this fight: style and hands.
Yep.
I could say three, a test of resolve. Who wants it more? I think Zepeda's the type of person you could be beating him pillar to post, but he ain't gonna stop trying. So, at the end of the day, it's those three factors, and that's gonna be the determining thing that matters for the fight for me. So, on to the next one, Body. Great show, bro.
All right, AC, I appreciate you, man. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Well, there you have it, Jose Rodriguez. Salute, man. Good to see you in the building again, man. Thanks for everybody who came out. Thanks, Jerry and Koki and Pop. I'm gonna end it off like this, man. When it comes down to Shakur, I just want the old Shakur, man. Like, I know we evolve. I just want the old Shakur back, man. I want the old Shakur. Maybe it was the business of boxing that kind of soured you a little bit, but I just want the old Shakur back, man. That's all I really want. I think that stop worrying about what the fans are saying, man. Stop worrying about what we are saying about you. Our critiques, because all boxers, we're gonna critique all the boxers, man. We're gonna evaluate all the performances. It's just like AC's a chef, so I know that he might be more critical about how certain dishes are made and if it got that umami or if it's salty or if it's spicy. But we all are chefs in our own right. We've all been in fights. We all gonna have something to say, especially when we're measuring you up to the greats. It comes along with the territory. But I don't think that trying to offend the fans by saying, y'all don't know what y'all watching, it's like, that's not gonna help you, bro. Like, even if they don't know what they watching, they still fans. People go to basketball games, they go to football games, they go to, like, the people that's actually sitting down making content, for the most part, they're hardcores. You got some casual that's in it just to stir up the pot and do all of that. But, like, put it like this: if you make love to a woman, or let's just say you make Whoopi, she gotta qualify whether or not you beat it up. She gotta qualify how good your performance was. That's how we are as a fan. We're gonna say what we're gonna say, regardless. Some people gonna cap and cape, and say, oh man, it's the best thing ever, you know what I'm saying? But some of us is gonna be like, liar, liar, and we're gonna be like, we've had better. Because from you, we've seen better, Shakur. And then as far as this double-minded stuff with the tank stuff, that's a whole different conversation. But if it wasn't about the money, and you don't need him, I'm like, well, why does he come up in every interview? And what happened with the hands when they asked you about it? You need good hands, and then you was ready to fight Lamont Roach. That sounds like picking and choosing. So, like they tell us as fans, you can't have the boxer and then try to tell them how to fight. We ain't trying to tell you how to fight. We just trying to say, listen, man, show up and show out. We're gonna critique it regardless, good, bad, or indifferent. And that just is what it is. I hope you go in there and do your thing, man. And salute to Zepeda, man. Maybe he can show up and lose himself in the moment. Who knows? Thanks for everybody who came out tonight, man. This is Fruits and Veggies, not that Reggie. Fact-based content, not opinion-based. Silence is consent. We speak the things over here. All it takes for evil to prevail is for grown men and women to remain silent. So we speak to these things. We want you all to get paid. We want you all to leave the game with your faculties in order, being able to feed your family, and maybe comment, maybe do interviews, maybe have a podcast afterward. But while you in it, be all the way in it and stay authentic. That's all I had. Thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga, right? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to